Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So, what do we have today? I mean, we are like, every time we turn around, it seems like we're all staring at a number, some number. In this case, it's Nevada. Now, we're talking for 2 days now, waiting for this to resolve itself, I guess you could say. In other words, they want the earnings out. Everybody's waiting for the earnings to occur. The options are pricing in an $85 move one way or the other. So, we're there. Let's see. Cool, good. Cut a hole in a pile of wood so they. Good. Okay. Just answering a text there, and then we'll get back to that. So, we're looking for an $85 move in Nevada, NVDA. It's one of the top tech companies over the last 4 or 5 years. It just keeps on climbing, and it just doesn't seem to stop. Basically, that's what it really comes down to. And then from there, we look at the news that's going on. We're still stuck in some type of confusion, I guess you could call it. Someone now this morning is trying to say they're going to cut rates in June. We've got people from one direction to the other now. Some are talking about cutting rates in June, and then others are talking about raising rates. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We're talking about a real market. That's what we used to say on the trading floor. For every buyer there's a seller. For every bid there's an offer, and so someone's going to be buying it and someone wants to be selling it, and that's exactly where we're at this particular point in time. It's getting even weirder and weirder. I mean, really weird. So, what do? I mean, you just trade them as you see them. That's what you can do. That's the only thing you can do. Constantly just trading what you see and how. And you see here, we don't have J4X up yet. It's we'll have that up by next week or something like that. But you can see here on our beta, you see that the dollar index has been down for a couple days now. The weekly's still in a weekly buy, but they've been putting some pressure into it. And then we'll go over to the main platform and take a look at the right there. We'll look at it the same way again, like so, and you can see the dollar index kind of a little bit up, but it's been in a daily sell for the the 4 days here. The pressure's been on, and how come we don't have a red line in there? Let's steal this red line right there. There's a red. Come on, move over right there. There's the red line, and it's going sideways again because they're confused by are they lowering rates, are they raising rates, are they doing nothing? I mean, it's a combination of all of that, and it shakes up the markets. There's no doubt about that. Ooh, let me go over and put the chat line up. I just looked over there, and I'm seeing other chats, but I'm not looking at our chat line. Let's see what our chat line looks like. There we go. Oh, not counting, we have what's his name? Joe, the president's brother, testifying. It's there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Let's put it that way. Lots of weird stuff going on. To identify as much weird stuff that's going on, there's nothing more to be said but that. It's amazing how weird it is. Whoop! Now, where did that come from? Let's close that. There we are. Let's shut that down. And there's Robin. Hey, Robin, good morning to you. A lot of weird data, a lot of wild stuff. Basically, I guess what the president swept his grandchildren's bank accounts, took out like $3.5 million out of them. Bigger question is why is China putting millions of dollars, and Ukraine putting millions of dollars into Joe Biden's bank account for his grandchildren. Millions. It's not like they sent them a $25 bond, 20 million in payments from foreign sources. Wow. Amazing. Just amazing. So, we're seeing a lot of strange things going on at this point. There's a lot of, even for me, it's getting weirder. Joe Biden's brother appears in front of a congressional committee this morning. Just take a little sip of that tea there. All right. So, as you can see up on the screen, there is the dollar index on the other platform. And then let's go take a look at it on the intraday. There's the intraday. I went into the sell. Let's just put a line in there, something like that. Where to go into the sell? Went into the sell right there. There it is. Well, let's make it a different color, like white or something like that. There we are. So you can see here, it went into the sell here. It slid down. Still in the sell. It tried to pop up. It failed at it, and it's trying to drive itself back down again. And this is the dollar index. And then what it did is it had gone into the daily buy right here, or intraday buy right there, and climbed all the way up. You see all that action there. So there's a intraday look of the dollar index and how well it works, and consistent day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, and I can honestly say, decade in and decade out, we have it live on this throughout the last 10, 11 years. It's there. You can see our past history, and it's constantly following. So, all right, let's see where we go from here. Is there any other news really that would relate to the strange economy we have going on at the moment? Let me think. What else is in the news about the financials? I saw where there was 350 million shares traded in China in 1 minute, almost like a flash crash. They're not supposed to go short, but they found a way to sell a hell of a lot of them. 350 million shares of something. That was pretty wild. What else is there? I did mention yesterday about the Chinese economy versus the Japanese economy, so I'm not going to repeat myself there. What else can we say? I guess that's about it. Let's just look at technical stuff, see if anybody comes in, wants to look at something, or I'll just go through the rhythm of this all. We'll look at the intraday, we'll look at the daily, we'll look at the weekly, just do the same old gig, just a different day. I guess that's what it comes down to. Unless someone asks a question and it actually excites me and makes me want to look at something. I mean, I always want to look at whatever you ask for. I don't care if it was cotton or Brent sea oil or copper or Nikkei. I don't care. Just you ask and I will look. We will look. We will look. All right. So from there, let's go check it out. Let's take a look at the euro. Let's go to the euro and see what the euro is up to. We'll throw the intraday up first. There's the euro and there's the intraday. Went into the sell right here. So let's put a line in there like so. I guess that's it. We can use that one. That's where it went into the sell. And in this case here, it shouldn't be green, I guess. There we go. Let's just make it white. Went into the sell there. And it slides down. Let's take a look at the weekly. There's the weekly. See, it's been in a week from up and top of here all the way down. I mean, it goes up and down, but is it higher here or is it higher right there today? Obviously not. See, when we go like this, this is where it went into the weekly sell. When we look at it, we go, oh, okay, yeah. It's lower from here than it is from there, and even there. Now, did we go into a buy for the last 4 days? Sure. Put that in. I thought I put that in before, but it's in there again now. And so it's been in a daily buy for, this is the fourth day. It's been in a weekly sell for 2, 3, 4, 5, going on a 6th week. So there's our math doing its thing, giving you a heads up, giving you a warning, giving you a generality, being accurate 86 out of 100% of the time. And that's all we can do, is try to give you that heads up, give you that understanding of where things might be going more often than not, greater than and less than, and so on and so on. All right, from there we'll go over to British pound, the Great British Pound. You can see they're going on a 4th day, and there's that box we've been staring at, how it goes sideways. Let's steal one of these greens, or put a green in there. It's been in a buy now on a 4th day. Yes, it's on a 4th day. You can see the weekly's 4 weeks in a sell, and it's obviously lower than there. That's where it went into the weekly sell. In this region, it's a weekly number, so went into the sell, and you can see it's kind of sideways down, and then we slide over to the intraday, which is always fun. Right there, and it pushed itself into the sell a little while ago, right there, and it's obviously still down from it. There was a buy right there. That was cool. That was a half decent little buy, a little sloppy but half decent. And the sell went, where did the sell go? The sell was this one. It jumped right back in the buy and beat you up a little bit. See that big move there? And then when it went into the buy right there, it had a nice little win. And then let's see, let's start right here on the screen itself. You can see that was the first buy. It was a wonderful run. The second trade was a sell. It was a wonderful run. And then where did it go into the buy? I guess it would be right here. And then we went back into the buy right there. And it was a half decent run. No, it wasn't. It was a loss. Gave up a little of the profits from this move and that move. Then we go over to here, and the same thing, another loss, a little loss here and there, and that's why you put stops in. And then I guess it was the buy would be right there, and that made back at least, could have been almost these two losses it made right there alone on that move. And then it got a little sloppy there, and then another win there, and then another win there. And you can see now it's trying to pierce through the zero there on the intraday. And as we said, the weekly is been in the sell for 4 weeks now. It's again there. I have to put a caveat out there. In other words, a statement, and the statement is that these markets are not really going anywhere. When we look at the dollar index, we've seen it, misinterpreted that they were going to run the dollar down because interest rates were going to go down. And then we realized that obviously they're not going to go down, and they're kind of trapped in this neutral area, and that's why we have things like the box here we put in there. You can see that there's not a lot of, I want to say that there's just not a lot of conviction for a lot of this stuff. You can see it. It's been trapped. And I don't blame it. It should be trapped. And sometimes that's what markets do. They go sideways. They're waiting. They're hesitating, consolidating, and waiting for the next important information that will give more insight to what the future could be. And that's usually the way it works. And that's what our math does. It gives you a general idea of, what things could be. Could they be going up? Could they be going down? Are they going sideways? And that's pretty much what a market does, and we're usually on the good side of it all. So, and we're not afraid to show the losses because obviously there's way more wins. So that makes it a lot easier. Imagine if it was the other way around. You wouldn't want to watch this webinar. You'd be like, he's always wrong. And then you might want to go, let's fade him. So every time you hear me say be long, you get short. And we used to have people like that on the trading floor. Every time they walked by the trading crowd, they'd be like saying something like, "Isn't that thing going down now? I think it should be going down." Everybody's thinking, maybe we should buy. This guy's never right. That type of thing. In our case here, we're way more right than wrong. So it's just a opportunity to try to get a grasp on what we're seeing that's coming down the road. What is the market, a particular market, a particular product, a particular area, what it's going to do. And as you can see, when you look just right there on the I wanted to say the J4X there, but look on our main quant platform there. You can see it goes into sells, goes back into the buy. It goes into the sell, fails at it, goes back into a buy. In other words, markets do not go in straight lines. They go in like a zigzag pattern, constantly pushing and pushing and pushing. And before you know it, you look back and you go, wow, why didn't I recognize that it was going down? And that's, the classic. Everybody does. Everybody looks at it and goes, wow, it looks so easy now, doesn't it? Luckily, we have it a little bit more easier than most. That's all. All right. From there, let's go over and take a look at the Swiss. There's the Swiss. Again, the same thing. It's trapped in that consolidation for the, and you can see it's heading towards the top part of the consolidation now, and maybe starting to curve a little bit. Went into the sell there, jumped into the buy yesterday. Let's take this green right there. Jumped into the buy yesterday right there, and looks like it's trying to go back into the sell. Let's steal that sell right there. You see it's right there. They're pushing into it at the moment. At the same time, the dollar Swiss pairs trade is obviously in a buy now from this low here for this move up into there over the last 5 weeks. So there's been that little pressure, and since the Bank of Switzerland has come out, the National Bank of Switzerland itself came out and said, the federales are like, woo, we're fighting inflation. We need to basically hold the line a little bit stronger here, because they're feeling the pain now from that inflation. Boy, did we see that move. What a hot move that was. We were talking about it. Didn't know what it was all about, of course, but now it's obviously readjusted itself. All right. From there, we'll go over to the yen. Yen. Right there. Yen's interesting in the sense that it's been banging above the 150 area for about, 7 days now. At the same time, we've been in a weekly buy since the 145 area, 144, 145-ish. And you can see it's been pushing itself up. All that right there. So the weekly's been doing that. The daily, goes into its ins and outs as usual. There's a buy there, safe to buy. There's a buy there, relatively safe to buy. And then I guess it's trying. What's that doing there? Did it get into the buy there? Looks like it did, actually. So it looks like it actually went into a buy right there, and now it's trying to go back into the sell. That basically it's unched at the moment, unchanged. Curious, definitely curious. That action. Let's take a look at it on the intraday basis. And there it is right there. Pushed into the sell right there. And then jumped into the buy right there. Didn't last long. And back into that sell again for another little win. And still in that sell as we speak. Still in the sell. That was a really good one. Back about 40 minutes ago. Went into the sell there. What a nice big smash that was. From up there all the way down to there. Didn't go into the buy until right here. And then it climbed for a while to right there. That one right there. And so it pressed down for just a bar or two and then joined right in on the upside again and was a failure. And then now it's in a sell right here. And still in the sell. Went into the sell here, It has made a new low, but it's also moved up a little bit in there, shaking you up depending on how you trade the market. Depends how much capital you're using and how you stop yourself out and start over again and so forth and so on. In other words, we always have that saying. Once in a while, I think I've put it up there on the title too. What gets you into a market gets you out. In other words, when you're using a tool, a technical analysis, an algorithm, or something of that nature, or indicator, and you follow it and back test it, and then you get into a trade and it starts to go the wrong way, you start to change your mind. You don't want to do that. You want to stay with the work you've done. So what gets you into a trade will get you out of a trade. Let it win or lose, but let it do its job, or you're disrupting your whole premise and concept of how to do things. All right. And then from the yen, let's go over and see the great experiment at this point. Where's the great experiment? And that is the Turkish lira, Euro Turkish lira in particular. It's been in that daily buy now for 5 days, this whole move. We've been closing at all-time closes now for about 3 or 4 days. Now we're at 33.51 again. I have stopped giving projections on this poor product unless someone asks. I try not to volunteer that because I really feel bad for the indigenous people of that country, how their currency has gone from 1 to 33. So I try not to. I mean, we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years on the Turkish lira, and we've been unfortunately way too accurate. And so I hate to jam it up. So I try not to unless someone asks. Let's see, what else is there? I guess that's about it when it comes to the Turkish lira. And so then what we do is we slide over to the South African rand. And as you can see, that downwardly pressure is usually a bullish thing for, ooh, look at that. It's even pressing into the weekly sell too at the same time. And that could be a sign of buying in the gold. So let's go take a look at the gold. And there it is right there. And you can see it, it's been having an upwardly trend going on. The last 3 days it's in a daily buy. Not exploding in any way, but they are buying it. Maybe it's finally, we're going to see a little bit more. Someone asked me last night at dinner at a board meeting, what do you think of gold? I said, it's a good tool. Seems like, last year it was up 10% for the year. That's a pretty big move. Now this year might be nothing. Put your dollar cost average into this year, and obviously it should help out. I guess the bigger question is, what is the, we got an election coming around the corner. And the difference between the two candidates is really dramatic. One is a socialist moving towards communism, and the second one is a capitalist moving towards freedom. So, I mean, that is a really dichotomy. In other words, that is a very loud noise. It's not like they're both close in philosophy, political philosophy, and it's just personalities. In this case here, one is driving in one direction, the other one is driving in the other direction. So the markets are going to be a little jumbled for a while. Another sip of the tea there. All right, so there's the gold. You can see that. That's what's happening with the South African rand. Let's go back to that South African rand for a second, and we'll widen it even a little bit. But you can see there, it is trying to move down now for like the last 6-7 days. It's topped out and tried to move down, and now out of nowhere, we're starting to see a weekly sell. So let's see. I mean, you can see the congestion we had here, where we went into a weekly buy, weekly sell, broke down, then went into a weekly buy, it climbed up a little bit, and we went into a weekly sell again. Is that right? Right there? I guess that is. And it fell down or went sideways down. Then we went into a weekly buy again right there, and it ripped up and we've been in that weekly buy, and it broke down here. You can see that we were in a daily sell there, and it drove it down to here, that whole move there. And then I jumped back into the daily buy with the weekly buy, and it went climbing back up. And this is the South African rand, the #1 brick in the world. And when it does that, it usually is accurate. It's a metal country at the same time. They produce a lot of gold, and so their currency is really adapted to it. Obviously, because of the political turmoil that they're having down there. Right, so that is that, and let's take a look at some of the other metals, really. So let's take a look at, we just saw gold climbing up, matching up to the strength that we're seeing in the South African rand against the dollar. So let's take a look at the silver. Silver, where are you? Right there, there's the silver. And there's silver. Silver's been climbing also. It's been a daily buy for 4 days. Closed in that weekly buy. That's what we're waiting for, really, with gold. Waiting for gold to get into that weekly buy. Let's just show it to you. It's curving and it's trying, but it's not, it's not exploding yet. We'll see how tomorrow brings it. And then we go over to copper. There's copper, which is, again, 3 days in a buy, and you can see the strength there. And it closed in the weekly buy last week at the same time. So it's truly that winner chicken dinner. And then we go to the last of the metals of the four, and that's the platinum. You see that's been in a daily buy for 5 days, having a little pressure today. And it's still stuck in that weekly sell from up in here. And it went down, and it tried to go challenge it and failed and went down again. And now it's tried to lift up. And if we get into a daily sell with this thing into the weekly sell, chances are it's going to find a way to go down, not up. The odds will be, 86 out of 100 times. So there it is when it comes to the four metal complex. We're moving along nice and fine today. All right, let's go over and look at energies. There is crude oil right there. And you see it's flirting with the sell today a little bit. But we're in a weekly buy now for a 6th week. What can you say? We're coming to the end of the winter in the northern hemisphere. And so, there's going to be less demand. And I can show you this. Here is what we call heating oil. We talked about it yesterday. In the northeastern United States, the heating oil, this is fuel we use for a heating system. That's very popular. And you can see it's been moving down. It's moved down from almost the 290 area. Yeah, it's in dimes. Okay, yeah. And so we've now moved into the 268 area from almost the 280. What was the high there? 288. So we've dropped 20 cents. And you can see we're in that weekly buy since the 245.50 area here. Climbed and climbed and climbed. Did throw itself into a little sell right there. And it didn't last long. 3 days later, we're back in the saddle again. Back in the saddle again. And it started climbing again. But now we're doing this. We're showing the weakness there. And that's the heating oil. Made out of the crude. And so let's put Brent up there on the beta. There's the beta and the Brent right there. You see it's trying to do the same thing. It's trying to roll over, and you can see the weekly's trying to roll over. We're seeing that same pressure, and we're not seeing it on the crude oil yet. Oh yeah, look at that. Crude oil is starting to do that same thing, but the daily is moving slow there. So we're seeing this pressure on the actual crude oil itself. So we're watching this again. They distill crude oil into heating oil and gasoline for the automobiles, or gas oil and for the automobiles, and diesel, and things like that. And then there's different levels of oil. They use them for different things. There's a thicker oil, there's a thinner oil. All this stuff. Not counting for lubrication too. All right. So then from there, let's go back to here. Oh no, let's stay there because from there, let's see what natural gas looks like. And there's natural gas. Natural gas had really taken a pounce down into the 150 area. We were in a sell from up in here in the 270, almost $3, 275.80. Went into a sell right there and stayed in the sell for that whole ride. This is natural gas. And in the last couple of days, it's been in a daily buy trying to lift up in there. And so that's what we got going on there. And then from there, let's do this. We'll put it up on the, let's see, where's it at? Right there. Right there, there's natural gas. Put it up over here. You see that natural gas thing going on again, that strength from yesterday. The weekly is trying to turn. I'm not sure how well that will do, but that's after dropping down to $1.50. $1.50. Matter of fact, yesterday I think we looked at the futures contracts. When you go and look at February oil in natural gas, let me just go take a look at that. I think it's like at $2.75 or $3. It's pretty high up. Where's it at? Let's find it and put it up on the screen, or at least let me look at it if nothing else. Right there. Natural gas. Yeah, so March natural gas is at 174 now, and then it starts to climb, which is really fascinating because by this time next year, natural gas in February is trading at $3.50. So I don't know what's going on there, but that is wild for it to be twice the price. 50 twice. All right. Now from there, we'll go back to the chat line. And so that's natural gas. And you can see it there also on the beta. And then let's go over to the beta again. Right there, and take a look at that energy company that we follow down in Spain. It gives us great insight. I think it's been underneath 23 for a little while now. We're bouncing right around it. That's what it is right there. You can see it just kind of hanging out. There it is right there over the last 5 days. Hanging around under the 23 area. And you can see the weekly is, that's the daily indicator showing that same weakness. When we put them all together again, you see the pressure on it. And then the weekly has been in a sell for a long while, all the way from the 27 area. And we've gotten down underneath 23. So this is the only way we can really view the cost of energy. That's the gig right there. That's the only way we can see what prices are like in Europe. All right. So then from there, we I guess that does it really. That's the energy look. And so we might just have some fun here today. We can look at cryptos and stock indices around the world. Maybe look at a couple stocks. I was looking at Kathy Wood's stock ETF. I don't understand. I do understand, but they really loved her as an analyst at one time, I guess, and then she started managing money. Unfortunately, her ETF is not that pretty when it comes to how long it's been getting crushed. See if we can put a longer term product in there. Maybe we can do. Let's do it this way. Let's put it on our main platform. Rarely do that, but let's do that. That's kind of neat. And so we'll go like that, and we'll put the ARKK, and let's see how it has been acting. I guess in many ways it's probably better to just put it in on, say, like a long-term chart. Let's see what we can do here and do that. Go like that, and then go like this. Trading, and there's Yahoo Finance. We can use Yahoo Finance since I can't get into J4X. Matter of fact, there it is. It's on the top of the list. Look at that right there. And then let's make it a 5-year, and we'll make it the whole screen. And we'll make it a, well, you can see how bad that is. It was $156 back in 21, and it has gone as low as like $31 right there. And you know, at best it's bouncing around up in this like consolidation, bottom consolidation. Could be a 1, 2, 3, and this could be a 4 right here, and then they'll go pound it again and bring it down into the $15 area like that. Wouldn't surprise me any. Let's put it this way, they bounced off of this area here right there. It bounced off of that and made new lows, and has lifted up. And the bigger question is, if it goes down there and breaks that again, it could be really, really ugly for this poor product. Now, this is, in some ways, it seems like it's the modern tech environment. Now, can we really say that when you look at Amazon and you look at Google? Matter of fact, Amazon's going into the Dow Jones Industrial Average this on Monday morning. So, now we'll have another over-the-counter stock. That's what we used to call them. Another NASDAQ stock in the Dow. I think that makes 7 or 8 now. And before you know it, we're going to be 50% NASDAQ, 50% NYSE. I guess it's ICE, really, because the New York Stock Exchange was sold to ICE, so it's ICE against NASDAQ at this point. And NASDAQ trades like 5 times more stock than the New York Stock Exchange nowadays, every day. 5 times. So if New York trades, the NYSE trades like a billion shares, the chances are NASDAQ trades like 5 billion shares. That's incredible. And when you really think about it, the gainers in the market overall, NASDAQ, American or New York or whatever, no matter what exchange you look at, and the end result is that the real volume and the top stocks are now over in the NASDAQ. That's the Tech 100. And we talk about that every so often. It's like the Tech 100. Let's see if we can get that in there. It's rolling over too. It's been feeling a little pressure. And I think last I looked, let's see. Where's it at? Right there. There it is right there. So it's pressuring down. It's actually, this is off the beta. It's been in a sell for, what was that, 4, 5, 6, 7 days now in the beta. S&Ps I think are only like 2 days or 3 days. Let's see. There's the S&P right there. And the S&P's there's really, 2 days. This is the second day on the down. And so, we're feeling that pressure. Ding, 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 ding. And I think the Dow Jones is trying today to get into the sell. You can see it right there. It's starting to feel that pressure also. So, also I heard that Uber, I think they're removing JetBlue, I think it is, and putting Uber into the Dow Jones Transportation Index. So, we got a lot of exciting things going on here in many odd, twisted ways. We're getting a lot of action. There's a lot of action going on, and and that's the way uncertain times can be. Markets get a little excited with that. So let's see what else we got going on here. And then we go to, let's see where that is. And then from there, we go over to, let's see, I guess we're looking at stock indices, so it's kind of neat. Let's look at we've seen the S&Ps, we've seen the NASDAQ 100, which has, been feeling a lot of shifting going around. And now we're seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average start to make the attempt. The weekly's still there, but, it's heading down. It's got that curve going on. and the fast is underneath the zero line. Let's look at the Russell 2000 right there. There's Russell. Ooh, it's taking a pouncing too. Second day in the sell, and the weekly is starting to roll over. And that was a really interesting weekly. I mean, we started at somewhere around in here, I guess it was. Let's see, where is it at? Last week of January. And there is the last week of January right here. And it did that nice run up. And now we're seeing that pressure again. And then let's go over and look at... So the Russell's trying to move down. And all the other stock indices are trying to move down. And we've got news coming out on like the most popular stock at the moment, Nevada. So I guess let's take a look at the European and Asian stock indices and see what they're up to. Oh, and here's one more. Before we go there, I found this to be very fascinating, and that is, here is the ETF of the Bitcoin, the crypto. Right, let's see, where is that? GB, right there. There it is. And you can see that's been feeling pressure for like 3 days. It's been in a sell for 4, and it's really pushing. And then you can see it's trying to roll over. And then we go over and look at the cash. The cash is definitely stronger and a little different at times. And let's just put the cash up there. And there it is right there. This is the cryptos, but you can see the consolidation going on. It went up to 52,000, and where are we at now on this thing? And we got up to over 52,000, and now we're down to 51,043. And this one was a high of 52,945. So, it's backing off a little bit. Nothing major, but it is feeling a little pressure. And when you look at it this way instead, you see that same situation going on. There's that pressure there. Got up to the 47 and change, backed off, and now today it had made a low into the low 45s, and it jumped back up into the mid 46s. So we're pressing down just a little bit, but it's telling us the story right there. But again, we're in that weekly, and so that's superseding everything. Like, just sit back and watch. All right, and that is the. Do we have one? I think we have. Do we have Ethereum in there? Usually we have Ethereum in there. We had Ethereum in there until we adjusted the platform again. Let's see if we can find Ethereum. I don't see it. We'll have to add the Ethereum. That's another liquid product. All right. So there it is right there on the cryptos. Now let's go over to Europa. There's the DAX. And you can see the DAX up for the day. It's got some strength going on. It's in a daily buy and a weekly buy. We go over to the FTSE. Or let's see, there's the Kakaran. So Kakaran is lifting up. You can see it's in a weekly also for about 4 weeks now. You can see the daily for like 6 days. And you can see it's been climbing up too, like that. There, it's been climbing up. Then, I guess we had to do it one more over like this. There it is. So it's just climbing up. And then we go over to the FTSE this morning, and I saw that already, which surprised me. Look at that dip it's making, which really caught my eye. And you can see the weekly's even having a break. It's trying to head south into a sell. The FTSE and the Dow Jones Industrial Average can be the big leader sometimes. They both can really, if they start to climb up, then the rest of them like to climb up. And when they roll over, the others go up a little bit more, and then they seem to roll over. So, from the FTSE, and we've seen the Kakaran, and it's plus. Let me just go a little bit slower with that instead of just running away. Look at that nice move too. It's been a nice move. Just like the DAX, climbing up. And it's in the daily buys there and in the weekly and so forth. Now, I know we need to get a couple more of the European stock indices. But right now we'll just jump over to the Cosby, and that's the South Korea, and you can see it's been doing that same thing. It's matter of fact, which is fascinating, is that let's show you this. Since the Chinese market has calmed down in some way, I guess you could say. Let's show it to you exactly. Back there in, yeah, what's up with that? There we are. And you can see it's been climbing up. Now I did a poor job of capturing that. Let's do it again. That's better there. So you can see there it's been climbing up from the 2450 area back up to the 27, almost the 2700 area. So it's basically gotten back. It seemed to join in with the Chinese market when it started to fall apart. Now let's look at the Hang Seng right there. And the Hang Seng, doing the same thing in the same time period. You know, it has started to support itself and start to climb. Not as prolific, but it definitely started to turn up, which is nice. And you know, because we're looking at a Chinese market that's heading for enormous lows, 20-year lows or something like that. So it's made that bottom there in January, and looked like it was hesitating but consolidating. And that consolidation has been more of a positive thing than a negative thing. And we're in a weekly buy for 3 weeks there. Then we go over to Hong Kong. Where are you, Hong Kong? There's the Hong Kong indice. And you can see a little pressure there. 2 weeks in a buy. And you can see here it's more consolidated. You know, it's doing that consolidation thing. No doubt we're at the top of the range of it, but it is definitely consolidating. Which is kind of neat is how the Hang Seng is finally lifting up a little bit. And then as I was saying to you, someone pitched 350 million shares of an ETF in 1 minute. Woof. 350 million shares. Let's see if we can find that story. I thought that was fascinating. I did post it, so I've got it here somewhere. But let's see if we can find it raw-wise and just bring it over without me having to do that. Let's see, Uber. There's a story about India having a burst in its bubble. Let's pass that and see if we can find it. I thought that was fascinating. There it is. China suspends quant fund for dumping 350 million. Here it is. Oh, I can't do that, can I? Where do I'm sorry. I've got to put it up on a screen. Let me do that. I can put it up on this screen. Let me do this. Right there. Here it comes. There we are, right there. And you see that China suspends quant fund for dumping 350 million shares in 1 minute. And let's see if we can get a chart on that. That would be interesting to see. So combined, the fund dumped a combined 2.57 billion won, or $357 million in A shares in a minute between 9:30 a.m. and 9:31 on Monday, at the Shanghai Exchange and Shenzhen Bourse, both of them. I wonder how much they dropped. Love to see a chart on that. Is there a chart on it? Nah, they don't have a chart on it. That would be fascinating to see. I wonder if we can get that right name. Maybe we can get the China blue chip. What does it say? China's blue chip index dropped to 5-year lows earlier this month, but has since staged a powerful rebound in Beijing, has vocally sought to prop up Chinese markets. But somewhere along the line, what do they do here? Close. Let's click on that, see if it does anything. Nah. All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure you could see that. I thought it was well worth. That's good capitalism, really. I mean, that's what we want. That we want free markets and free people. So, I mean, if someone owns something, they want to sell it, let them sell it because it gives somebody else a bargain. If they're going to fire sale something, in other words, put it out there cheaper than what it really is, well, then let's take it. Now, I guess if we read the story, maybe it would give us a better insight. Why would they dump 350 million shares in 1 minute? Was it an error? You know, what they call that? A fat finger? They do that. They call it a fat finger sometimes. You know, in other words, they didn't mean, maybe they wanted to sell, 35,000 shares, and somehow they accidentally sold 350 million shares. Too many zeros or something like that. I think I might read that article after the webinar and see if we can dig up what was the logic behind that. It's like, whoa, why are you pushing this stuff out the door so fast? Obviously, one thing's for sure, they wanted to get rid of something. They were selling something, or they would have said that it was a mistake or a fat finger. So, that's the that's the way, that's the natural thing. That's what we all want. We want markets to do that stuff. In other words, we want buyers and sellers to compete with each other. They did suspend that company for 3 days. Regulatory efforts to revive market confidence. The fund's transgression, it broke rules on orderly trading, or stated simply, at a time when it's no secret that the selling of Chinese stocks is frowned upon. Oh, God. It took the next level when the fund dumped a combined... So it wasn't a fat finger. They did that right out. And bourses and things went wild there at both exchanges. And let's see, the orders from the Languin to dump stock in early trade on Monday coincided with the rapid decline in the benchmark indices. Okay. So Shenzhen and Shanghai stock exchanges said that, adding that they would restrict the hedge funds trading until February 22nd. The implication was clear. Anyone who likewise aggressively sells stocks is next. I guess so they freeze them if they sell them. It's really wild. Wow. What does that say? Yeah, it's really... no, forget it. I guess there's not much we can say about it, but it is fascinating. It wasn't a fat finger. It was an actual decision by a manager. You got to respect that. That's what their job is, to manage their money. Be it right or wrong, that's their job, is to go out and manage this stuff. So... And that's pretty much the excitement. Did we have any other? Oh, let's look at the Nikkei. See what the Nikkei's up with. We have seen that the Nikkei has been cruising around that 38,000 area, between 37 and 38,000. Let's see where you are, Nikkei, right there. There it is. And there's the Nikkei, and we'll just... Oh, look at that. Didn't even notice with the holidays and so forth, but look at this. That's fascinating. We're going after the all-time high again. It got up to 38,870. So, 39,000 and change is the all-time high. So we're getting very close. You can see all these long weekly buys. And the daily buys, geez, that's a couple weeks in daily buy too at the same time. So the action in the product has been, very positive. I guess now we got to do is come up with, what are we going to call this webinar today? What was this webinar? What should we call it? What did we talk about today? Well, we talked about the uncertainty in politics at the moment, and what else have we talked about? We talked about aggressive Chinese trading, which is fascinating. That's any time any country or any exchange does that, it's fascinating. Not just China, everybody. We've looked at a lot of intraday work, and I guess we have to come up with some type of title. I would say what we're seeing is a steady consolidation, for the next until this afternoon. So the big number comes out this afternoon. Markets watch the big number today. How about that? All right, traders, this is Doc from North America. We will catch you all tomorrow, and by then we'll have a good answer to what has happened. What was what action we got out of this whole market. So, all right. Happy trails to you as we sing our way out of here. Until we meet again, which will be tomorrow, which is going on Thursday already. We're already headed for the week. I like that. Happy trails to you, all our trading friends. You're all our trading friends out there, and we're always happy to answer a question or talk about anything, and that's just the way we go. So, everybody have a safe and smart trading day. We'll catch you all tomorrow after the news has come out. Ta-ta for now, traders. Bye-bye.